Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to keep playing on the Black Deli paper that Dede Willingham had sent me that I used during my last live stream. And in particular, I had done an image transfer using this collage soup book, which I'm going to show in a moment, with gold paint. And I wanted to keep playing with that. I had played with the color shifts and the Arteza Iridescent colors, but I didn't get a chance to play with the Pebeo Iridescent color, so I wanted to continue with that. So I've got the iridescent precious gold in the middle. I've got the iridescent green yellow on top and the iridescent blue green on the bottom. And I'm using my small brayer to spread them out individually. I'm brayering off the color in between so they don't mix yet. And then I'm going to use my large brayer to just soften them and blend them together seamlessly, because that's what I want for this image transfer we're going to do. So here we're just very lightly touching that. I don't want to remove a lot of paint. I just want to kind of blend it. And then I've got this in real time here to show you how long I'm pressing that paper down. I'm giving it a firm press to get all the bubbles out, and then I'm going to lift it up and you'll see the image. It's a bit hard to see until I put it on the black paper. And it's the resist technique where the black ink resists lifting up the paint and the white paper, part of the paper, soaks up the paint. So that's how you get the image. And I'm just going to put that tissue flat on there. Later I'm going to play with crumpling up the black tissue, the Black Deli paper I should say. And you get a nice colorization of that image as well that you can use in collage. And there you can see the collage soup book, neither here nor there, on the side. So we're lifting that up, and there's our image. It's sort of like a negative, X-ray kind of look. So I was pretty happy with that. So next I'm going to play with, I'm looking for another image. I left this footage in here so you could see some of the images in the book. I do have a full flip through on one of my live streams a few months ago if you want to check that out. I can link that one below. So here I'm using the golden white, titanium white fluid acrylic. I find it works really well with this book to do image transfers. And back to real-time speed so you can see how long I leave that paper down. And I'm smoothing it out to get rid of all the air bubbles. And then I'm going to lift it up and we'll see the transfer. And because I used the white paint on black paper, basically we're going to get a reverse image of what was on the original. So here I'm putting the Black Deli paper on, flattening it nice and straight, showing that book again. And I'm going to wipe off the paint because I want to reuse this one. I think you could probably do repeated prints leaving the paint on, but I just feel better wiping the paint off if I'm planning to do a repeat transfer. So I'm grabbing my other plate. I do give it a bit of a wipe because I had been using it. I did warm up both these plates before I did these image transfers. That's important to note. And by warm up, I mean I did some pulls first. I didn't, use heat. Don't use heat on your jelly plates. So here I've got the image transfer and I'm crumpling it up. And I want to put some cracks and crazing in there. So I crumple it up and then I sort of smooth it out a bit. And this crumpling it gives you some nice little cracks. I learned that from Patricia at PM Artist Studio. And this time I'm using the violet blue iridescent, the green yellow, and a bit of metallic orange. That's an Artist Loft paint. Now here it was a bit too blobby. I wasn't really happy with this. You'll see in a second. So I pull that up. And I didn't really transfer that great. So I end up wiping that paint off and trying again. And this time I dry it with my heat gun. I don't think it was fully dry. So I pick up that pattern just with the black paint on a white paper. You could see the transfer just kind of worked. It wasn't quite what I wanted. So I dried that off. And now I'm using the gold, the iridescent green yellow, and the iridescent blue green again. And I'm going to try to make it a more smooth transition this time. I didn't like the blobby look the last time. And I'm brayering off on the side there and then just slightly melding them together, and then pop that paper back on. And we're going to pull it up in a second. This is sped up. So here it did work, but once I push it down, You'll see it's very subtle. I think because of the crazing in the paper and just the really thin layer. So it just kind of glazed over top of that white transfer. So I don't know if you can see on the right, you can kind of see where the transfer, you can actually see the transfer a little bit better. I don't know if you can see that. But it did, I did like the effect that that gave. So I was happy with that. I'm just, you know, experimenting with different ways of doing this, and then picking up those crackles with some white paper and black paint. So that's kind of cool. And you don't need a transfer to do that. You just crumple up some tissue paper and you can get those crazing marks. I'm giving it a wipe. And this time we're going to crumple the paper before picking up the transfer. So I'm trying just different techniques with this Black Deli paper and image transfers. So I'm going to just open it up a bit. You can see how the paper gets smaller when you crumple it. This isn't momogami, but momogami is a technique where you crumple paper and it gets smaller when you do that. So I'm using the gold. This first pull isn't the greatest. I end up, you'll see I'll go over it in the white. And it's very faint transfer, but I think the paint was drying a bit. So you will see the transfer, you will see the image, but it wasn't as, you know, in your face as I wanted. So I knew I was going to do it again. So I wiped off that paint and then I dried it with a heat gun. And again, don't get your heat gun on your jelly plate. Giving it a good rub, rub-a-dub-dub, lift it up. So you can see, you can kind of see the transfer there. But it wasn't enough, like I wanted more than that. So let's repeat it using the golden titanium white fluid acrylic, and always make sure to like give your fluid acrylics a good shake first, which I did there. Whenever you see me take my brayer off to the right and there's some time, that's me brayering it off onto an extra piece of paper to clean it. So here, when I put this on, it kind of slid a little bit, but I didn't give up. I just kind of kept pressing firmly down, and that gave a really, really good transfer. So that's going to be nice and opaque. And I did smooth out the wrinkles a little bit. There's still wrinkles there, but just a few less so that the transfer is more recognizable. And I didn't pay attention to where the gold one was. I wasn't trying to like put it right on it. So I could have stopped here. I think this would have been wonderful, but I decided to keep going. I wanted to just put a glaze over top of it using the, have to look up the names here, the violet blue and the green gold. And as you notice, like when you use them on the black tissue, because they're an iridescent, they do change color. So a little bit. So I'm just giving it some extra crumples there. More crumples, and then I'm placing it on top, and I don't leave it sit too long. I just want to transfer some of that paint. So there we go, and I'm sort of spreading it out so you can see where those crackles are. I probably liked it a little bit better before adding that glaze to it, but you know, live and learn, and it's just paper. So now I want to add a border around those tissue, those like transfers. So I'm using a champagne gold by Art Minds. It's a brushed metallic champagne gold, and I'm using one of my new stencil designs, Wonky O's, and I'm picking up on the edge there to frame that image transfer. So when I put the stencil down, I used a different piece of paper that I had been working on to make some prints to pick up in the spaces, and then now I took the stencil off and I used the black tissue to pick up what's remaining on the plate. Next, I'm going to do the other two, and I want to kind of match the colors that are already on there. So with that is the green-yellow iridescent and the blue-green iridescent by Pebeo. And I don't want to mess up my image transfer, so I fold up the paper so that I'm just going to be picking up with the blank spots. This time I'm going to put just a full layer of the paint on, and then I'm going to use a stencil to create a pattern in that border. You'll see in a second. So there we go, just laying it on. You can see the one on the left is I left flat, and the one on the right is the one that had crumpled at one point. So we'll get two different effects from that. You can check out the live stream I did using this Black Deli paper. I'll link it below. It was a lot of fun, but I just wanted to keep playing with it and show you guys my experimentation. So I really like how that second one really crackled. And now I'm using just a little bit of black. I'm going to put my Wonky O stencil down. It's a very thin layer of black. And pick it up with that paper again. Those are some prints I did with that stencil. I'll link the shop, PMR Studio shop, below if you want, if you're interested in looking at their stencils, including this Wonky O's. And then I'm just layering that. I'm going to just pick it up with the area that I put the paint on. So we get just a little bit more interest there. Kind of melds together with the black tissue and the image transfer. So that's the 3 prints I did today. You can see it's a good way to colorize your images if you want to use those in collage. So here's that lady with the glaze over top. It's very subtle. Well, it's less like in your face as the black and white. This one was the green and the blue. And it gives kind of, and there's some gold, I think, in there. Now I can't even remember, and I just did the voiceover. So if you're playing and you forget what you're doing, if you record yourself, you can play back and say, how did I get that? And you can look at it. So I like those. So I had lots of fun. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you Wednesday at my next live stream. Bye now.